The price of video games is something we kind of knew was going to increase over the years, but did we think it was going to happen so soon? I mean, $70 is a lot of money, and we just saw glimpses of $80 with Mario Kart World and Outer Worlds 2 before Xbox and Microsoft came to their senses. But my question is, have you ever bought a new game, played it, and then felt that it wasn't even worth the money? Topspin 2K25 comes to mind for me. I mean, Topspin 4 came out in 2011, and this is like a 14-year gap, and nothing really changed. Granted, I didn't play Topspin 4, but I thought I was going to be able to play online doubles, have more players and professionals that you could play with, and the customization wasn't really there either. For such a large gap of time, you kind of expect improvements, but that's my fault because it's 2K. If you know, you know. And you know, it got me thinking, if I felt this, there has to be other people who feel this too, which means there must be data about it, right? So I decided to look into the data, reviewing years of sales numbers, review scores, inflation data, and industry reports to answer one key question. Are higher priced games worth the money, or should everyone just wait a couple months for a sale to come? Let's talk about it. Now, I know a lot of you are saying already, obviously prices of games are going to increase because of inflation, which, to be fair, is a good argument. Valid argument for sure. You're also probably saying, look how great everything looks with the improved graphics, improved performance, better audio. And to that I say, that's fair too. I can't lie. That's a good argument. But my question is, who asked for that? A. And B, is that the complete picture? Well, the data I found suggests that it's a slightly more complicated situation than that. But let's see how we got to this point. So check this out. From the launch of the Xbox 360 in 2005 to the end of the PlayStation 4 generation in 2020, the price for any major new video game was $60. For 2 whole generations, about 15 years, the price of full-fledged, fleshed-out games was the same $59.99. And with that, $60 was everything. A complete world, complete story, some DLC, but no microtransactions. And not just your run-of-the-mill type games, it was priced for a masterpiece like BioShock, Skyrim, Batman Arkham Asylum, the list goes on and on. And there are even some games like Uncharted 3 and The Last of Us that had a multiplayer mode tacked on that was great as well. I know back then I couldn't even fathom the price changing at all. Like, yeah, there were some deluxe editions and DLC became more frequent, but the main game always had the same consistent $60. Then the most recent era of platforms created the new standard of $70. Looking back on it, it makes sense. For 15 years, the price never changed, so there was gonna have to be a change eventually. But that $70 change, that $10 difference, had me recalculating if I could afford or continue this hobby, because that is the $10. I mean, listen, in the grand scheme of things, $10 is a lot, but 60 to 70 definitely is a big change. Just as people were adjusting to this, some people in the industry began testing even higher prices just 5 years later. An $80 price point. Nintendo was the first to make this, as we all know, with Mario Kart World coming in at $80. And Microsoft saw what they did and said, why not? Let's try it with Outer Worlds. Now, why would they try it with that game? Only they know. Not a Skyrim, not a Halo, but Outer Worlds 2. And they swiftly found out the answer to that. Negative reaction from fans was so immediate that the company reversed the decision. But that just opened the floodgates for other publishers to start testing the waters and increasing the price points for their games. And that had me question, if the price has changed this much, what's up with the value? The inflation argument is kind of true. When you adjust for the value of money in the past, gaming was an expensive hobby. A new Sega Genesis game from the 90s could cost around $60, and a game like that now is about $122 in 2025 money. So when a publisher states that a $70 game today is technically cheaper than a $60 game in 2006, they are not lying based on that information. Then there's the development cost argument, where the dollar amount has gone crazy. Making a AAA game is a huge undertaking with budgets that are steeply climbing. Budgets of $100 million are now the norm. For big franchises like Call of Duty, development costs can be in the hundreds of millions. Recent documents show that Modern Warfare 2019 cost $640 million to develop, and 2020's Black Ops Cold War reached $700 million. This doesn't include the large marketing budget. The photorealistic graphics, celebrity voice actors, and large team of artists and programmers all contribute to these costs. From that perspective, a $10 increase again seems reasonable. However, the argument is incomplete because it removes the significant financial benefits publishers have gained during the same period. The move to digital downloads, for example, has reduced major traditional costs like manufacturing, printing manuals, and global shipping. Publishers also retain a larger portion of the revenue as they no longer have to share as much with retailers. Also, the market has grown substantially. Gaming is no longer a niche hobby, but the largest entertainment industry, bigger than the movie and music industries combined. With billions of players worldwide, games are selling more copies than ever. So does it really make sense to increase the price? You'd think with all these extra costs, we would get more playtime out of it, right? But this chart tells a different story. Looking at Mortal Kombat, $70 game and under 7 hours played. Meanwhile, Farming Simulator is on average played for about 117 hours for just $20. It's crazy. The most important factor left out of the discussion is that the $70 price tag is often just the beginning. The real profit from modern gaming frequently comes after the initial purchase. This includes season passes, battle passes, cosmetic items, and live service models designed to generate continuous revenue. A game purchase for $70 can easily lead to a total investment of $150 or more. With the largest publishers reporting record profits annually, the claim that this price hike is purely for survival appears questionable. So what does this mean for all the gamers? Are we being overcharged? The answer is not a simple yes or no, obviously, because the concept of value in gaming has changed. From a purely economic perspective that only considers inflation, $70 again is not a bad price. We've paid more for less advanced games in previous generations, but that's just a calculation. It doesn't account for how people play and how they experience games. The $70 price can feel unfair because it coexists with business models focused on spending after they bought the game, i.e. microtransactions and DLC. The trust between us and the publishers is gone, and it can be hard to tell if a game is designed for maximum enjoyment or maximum spending. However, the data suggests that the solution isn't to boycott AAA games. Instead, it's important to recognize that the market has split. While major blockbuster games have become more expensive and focused on long-term monetization, there's also the indie and AA market that exists, and that market is thriving. It produces some of the most creative and critically acclaimed games for a lower price. The analysis that I made between review scores and pricing show there is no correlation at all. So just because a game is priced higher doesn't mean it's going to be rated higher. The same way if it costs less, it's going to be rated lower. There is no correlation at all, which shows that there are games that are worth it that are cheaper, and also games that are more expensive that are not worth it at all. That means for every disappointing $70 game, you could purchase a couple well-reviewed, loved, critically acclaimed indie titles. Hollow Knight, Celeste. We could repeat the same ones over and over again, honestly. And that goes to show now more than ever that the best games aren't always the most expensive ones. It's no longer a guarantee with the purchase of the most heavily marketed game. And all of this shift might make it a little more complicated to know which game might be worth it. It also gives us, the gamers, more power. When Microsoft and Obsidian tried to make an $80 game the new price point and the new norm, the community's response was strong enough to make them fall back. They didn't have a choice. They had to push the price back down to $70, and I also sent a message to the rest of the AAA developers not to mess with the status quo. At least for now. Who knows what happens in the next generation. So are $70 games offering less value? If your definition of value is based on the $60 era, where games were mostly one purchase, one price, fully fleshed out, then yeah, the standard has changed by publishers. The business model has shifted from selling a product to selling a platform for ongoing spending. But if you look at the entire gaming landscape today, there are still a lot of games worth your time, whatever that looks like to you. Whether it be a $15 cozy game that you spend months to years on, or a $70 single player experience that you spend 20 hours on, it's all up to what you think is worth it to you. There are honestly more options than we ever had before, and games go on sale more than they have ever had before as well. Now the challenge is no longer deciding if one game was worth the price, but more about where to find that type of value that is most important to you. The price of the box might be $70, but the true value is in the choices that we make individually. When was the last time you bought a $70 game and it was worth your time? Or the last time you bought a $60 to $70 game and you didn't think it was worth it at all? Let me know in the comments down below. I have the dashboard and link in the description if you want to go explore the report I showed. Make sure you like and subscribe if you want any more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.